Welcome back to the Rich Life Diaries. So in today's episode, I want to share 5 things I have stopped giving a fuck about since I turned 50. So some of these might surprise you, but all of them have made my life better, richer, and a lot more peaceful. So let's get into it. Welcome to Rich Life Diaries, the podcast where we talk real strategies for creating abundance, building a business you love, and designing a life that actually feels good. If you're done playing small and ready to create your dream life, you're in the right place. So, number 1, people pleasing. Now, full disclosure, I am a reformed people pleaser. And I inherited it from my dad, and it literally took me years before I even realized I was one. So on the surface, people pleasing sounds like a good thing, right? It means that you care about other people's happiness and you put other people before yourself, which is a nice thing. But here's the problem. Over time, it actually turns you into a doormat and leaves you vulnerable to narcissistic people and exhaustion. People pleasing is essentially exchanging energy out and getting nothing back usually. And this ends up leaving people drained, resentful, and feeling lost in their life, as they have just been too busy focused on everyone else's happiness except for themselves. Now, I know a few people pleasers, and I actually have a friend who is a mother and she's now a grandma, and she consistently says yes to her kids for everything, which is lovely. She is kind and she loves her grandkids, but I see it. She is like burnt out and she literally drops her life the second her kids ask her for anything, meaning she stops doing things that are important to her because she doesn't know how to say no. So if this relates to you and you're sitting there in your head nodding and saying, oh my God, that's me. I say yes to everybody and rarely do things for myself. Well, here is my advice. Just learn how to say no. And next time somebody asks you for a favor, just ask yourself, am I doing this out of guilt or obligation? Or is this something that I really want to do? Now, don't get me wrong. We all do things for other people, and that's a beautiful thing. So I'm not saying to be a selfish prick and never offer to help anyone. I'm just saying if you're constantly saying yes to people and sacrificing your own happiness to please somebody else, well, that's a problem that you really need to look at. And that's one of the things that I have personally given up as I've turned 50. So, number 2, tolerating toxic people without setting boundaries. Now, unfortunately, as human beings, we are all going to come across toxic or negative people in our life. So you might have a family member that's toxic, or you might have colleagues at work that are a bit negative, or maybe you have a partner that's a bit negative or toxic. Look, there is no escaping these people, unfortunately, but you can control how much time you spend with them. And you can also set boundaries to keep your energy safe. So I'll give you an example. I have a toxic person who I'm quite close to in my life. And I've had to learn how to set boundaries with this person, because what I found is when I let them get too close to me, they would hurt me emotionally. So this is someone I have tried for many years to set healthy boundaries with them and to keep things contained. And then as time went on, I just discovered that this just wasn't working. And then I had to cut this person out of my life, unfortunately. Now, that might sound harsh to some people, but I know better than anybody the company you keep and the people you surround yourself with have a massive impact on your mental well-being. So I believe in life that there are people that are energy givers and then there's energy takers. And look, we can all be a bit of both at times. But if you have energy takers in your life, meaning when you spend time with them, you feel exhausted and drained, and they just constantly criticize you, or they start arguments with you, or they just don't even show any sort of interest in your life in general, and they talk about themselves constantly, then these are the ones that you really need to set strong boundaries with. So just limit your time with these people. I also find doing catch-ups with these people in public places can help. Or if you really have to spend time with them, you can just organize outings with other people there as well. I feel like that can really help. But just limit your time with them. Tell them that you're really busy and just keep them at arm's length a little bit just to protect yourself. And look, if you have to, cut them out of your life if boundaries isn't working. But if you generally want a rich life, you cannot afford to let toxic people have unlimited access to you. So, number 3, dieting. Okay, so I'm embarrassed to admit this, but most of my life I have never been truly happy with my weight or my body. I've always felt like I would look better if I was just 2 kilos or 5 kilos skinnier or whatever, which sounds ridiculous, I know. But I guess in my younger years when I was a model for Vivian's, I might have got a bit of body dysmorphia back then from being a model for a few years. I don't know. But anyway, my old personal trainer actually used to say to me when we were training one day and I was telling him that maybe I have body dysmorphia, and he just laughed and he goes, Sam, most people in the gym have body dysmorphia. That's why they're here. So anyway, I just never forget him saying that. I'm like, oh, he's probably right actually. Anyways, so you're probably thinking, okay, well, how did you stop dieting and how did you stop giving a shit about what you eat and be happy in yourself? Well, there was a pivotal moment in my life about 10 years ago where I was having lunch with a friend of mine called Vera. Now, Vera is just one of those women. She is effortlessly beautiful. She's just naturally stunning. She doesn't wear any makeup. She always looks amazing. And she's always had a gorgeous body. And I have never, in all the years I've known her, seen her or heard her being on a diet, not once. And at the time I caught up with lunch with her, I was on some silly restrictive diet. Anyway, she just turned to me and she's like, Sam, why are you doing that? Food is your friend. And that sentence just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I've never forgotten it. It literally changed the way I looked at food. I stopped looking at food like it was the enemy and started looking at it like it was my friend. Its job was to give me energy and nutrition and make me feel good. Food is enjoyment. And I haven't been on a diet since. So when I want to eat chocolate, I eat chocolate. And if I want to eat a piece of cake, I eat a piece of cake. I've done all the no dairy, no gluten, no this, no that diets. And honestly, at this point in my life, I couldn't give a shit. And I have never felt and looked better, which is wild because when I think about how much time and energy I wasted obsessing over food in my 20s and 30s. So, number 4, keeping friends who are jealous of me. Now, growing up, I actually didn't have a lot of friends at school. So as an adult, I always wanted to collect as many friends as possible. And what that meant was I held on to friendships well past their expiry date. I kept people around who probably weren't genuinely really happy for me, or people who secretly didn't want the best for me. Jealous friends are insidious because they don't always look like what you'd expect them to look like. They show up, they smile, but then there are just these little things like the little digs and the little passive aggressive jabs. You know, you tell a friend that you like a boy and the next minute she's got a tongue down his face. You know, all of these things. There's moments where they throw you under the bus. I literally just cut off a friend last year after about 5 or 6 incidents where she just created drama and undermined me in some way. And once I connected the dots, it was just obvious. It was just jealousy. Now, Oprah talks about this a lot. You cannot be genuine friends with someone who is jealous of you because at their core, they don't actually want you to win. And much like what I said earlier, if you want a rich life, you need to be around rich people who cheer you on. And I don't just mean rich as in wealth. I mean mentally rich people. People who love you and want the best for you. Surround yourself with those people and watch your life change for the good. Number 5, dreaming too small. So recently I started working with a manifestation coach called William Whitecloud. And something really interesting came up during our sessions. And that was my dreams are not big enough. So I've been whacking things on my vision board that I kind of knew that I was going to achieve, like a yacht trip in Europe or a holiday in the Maldives or achieving a certain thing in my business that I knew that I could actually get to. So I guess I didn't even realize I was doing this until he called me out. And then I guess we went a little bit deeper and I just had to internally question myself. Why am I keeping myself smaller than what I need to be? What beliefs do I have about myself that are keeping me playing it small in my life? Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that I have achieved a lot in my life, but I just realized that I could want for more. And I guess the funny thing that comes up when I say this is that little girl inside of me who was born in a small regional town surrounded by naysayers and tall poppy people tells me that I have enough. So, working with William has helped me dig a little bit deeper into my true nature and purpose and why I'm here on the planet. And one of my goals is when I leave this earth, I want to leave knowing that I've made a positive impact in people's lives and I've made things better somehow. So that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, actually, because I just want to reach more people and somehow make the world a better place. And I understand that being invisible and hiding away won't get me to that goal. So I actually have 11 other goals and dreams that I'm working towards, and they are all huge. So the next chapter of my life is going to have way bigger dreams, bigger goals, and bigger thinking. Because if you're not a little bit scared by what you've written down or what's on your vision board, well, you're not dreaming big enough. So that's a question to ask yourself. If you're not sure if your goals are big enough, just ask yourself that question. Do my dreams scare me a little bit? And if they do, good, your dreams are big enough. So guys, that's my episode today discussing the 5 things I've stopped doing at 50. People pleasing, tolerating toxic people without setting boundaries, dieting, keeping jealous people or friends around me, and dreaming too small. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you subscribe below, and I look forward to seeing you back here in a couple of weeks. See ya.